You know, there's a couple interesting things that I'm really excited to show you guys. We haven't looked really at any of this before. Some of this we haven't looked at in a long time. And what we're seeing right now is it looks like BTC is on the verge of a potential breakout, which we'll discuss in this video. Also want to actually talk about a couple things again, pointing to a potential elongated cycle. And that obviously gives us a lot of excitement because otherwise our backs are kind of pressed up against the wall from a time standpoint here. And I also have to say ADA is right now almost to a T mimicking what it did in late July. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So let's take a look at the ADA chart first here. And what I want to point out is, don't these two formations look almost identical, where we had those back-to-back red weeks? Everybody said the sky was falling and got all bent out of shape. And then we just had this rip-roaring run, right? These candles look almost identical. Right now, ADA's trying to stack a green week together, a potential reversal week. And obviously, I think a big part of this is going to come down to that jobs report tomorrow. It sucks that we're waiting for one specific thing to move the market, but something I wanted to point out as well is ever since the first week of July, we've been closing our weekly candles above this 20-week moving average, which is a great sign. Right now, you guys can see that 20-week moving average is at about 77 cents or so. So that's right at the edge of that zone, like we've talked about many times. 78 cents is a range that ADA does like to bounce off of. So we'll have to watch and wait and see if we can get this bounce off here. But what it looks like we're doing in terms of weekly stochastic RSI here is what we did back here in basically March of 2023, where it looked like we were going to get this extended drop to the downside and then fake out and reversal and surge back to the upside. Also did this back here in August of 2022, August to September of 22, where we got a nice spike off of that. We've done this before where we haven't gone down on the weekly and done a complete reset. And what we've seen almost, I don't want to say confirming this, but suggesting this is, again, that bullish flip that took place on the daily, but also this continued bullish momentum on the monthly here as well. I think a lot of people lose sight of how many months this year have actually been green for ADA. It's been most of them. There are very few green or very few red months here in 2025. Obviously, we had February, which sucked. Yes, we had June, which sucked, but we've had a very distinct trend here that looks like it's starting to create a bit of a continuation. And what I find very interesting about this is obviously we're waiting for BTC to make its move. And this is the BTC versus the US 500 chart, so the S&P 5. And right now, what it's actually doing is it's on the edge of a potential breakout here. We've talked about it fighting this resistance many times before. And what it's looking like is BTC's trying to create this next leg here. And it keeps tapping its head on it, keeps trying to push against this. And there's going to be a moment where this does, in fact, break out. So this is something we're going to have to watch very closely here. And again, maybe this is triggered by the jobs report. I hate to keep saying jobs report, but guys, it's probably the biggest largest thing that people are paying attention to right now. And what we're getting today is essentially just a little bit of obviously hesitance heading into that. It's kind of what we saw the other week before we had the Jackson Hole event. And then we obviously had good news and then the market just obviously spiked. I hate that these things take place on Fridays because then obviously we have a weekend where we could potentially get some sell off, but you know, just something to pay attention to there. Now we keep talking about how similar things are to, you know, basically late 2020. And we're obviously prepping for, you know, a potential breakout into alt season and retail adoption and things like that. And the more data that we see, the more it's kind of confirming or yeah, I guess validating that we may in fact have this extended market cycle. In fact, Cointelegraph posted this chart, which I thought was very interesting. This is the BTC relative supply by profit and loss. And what this said is BTC is trading at 110K with only about 9% of the supply in loss, making this dip relatively shallow compared to the past cycle bottoms and global bear markets. And what I found very interesting here is that when we're looking at where we're at from a time standpoint here, right now, we are about at the point that we were at right in late 2020, early 2021. Same thing back here, about at the point that we were at in early 2017. So what this is suggesting, actually, just from looking at this chart alone, is that we're on the verge of an extended market cycle. We haven't seen the fun, exciting things yet. And that's, guys, if you remember, that is right before retail adoption took place in both market cycles. That's when BTC started to go parabolic. It's when altcoins started to really take off and do some incredible things. And we keep talking about how it looks like all these things are starting to align. And in fact, I was just looking at exchange app downloads this morning. Robinhood back in the top 200. No crypto apps per se, and maybe we're watching a little bit of a shift there. Maybe there is just more interest in investing period from retail, but that is a promising sign because again, people are starting to open up their wallets. They're starting to plan again for their future, and crypto is becoming obviously a big part of that. Something else I wanted to point to as well, guys, 0 out of 30 on the bull market peak indicators, not even close. So that's what I will say here. I think we have, frankly, all the time in the world. And guys, once mass adoption kicks off, I think bear markets are just kind of a thing of the past. I don't even know what kind of shakeout we're going to get in the fall, but I don't think really institutional money is going to care that much. They're just going to heavily buy the dip. That's if we get one, right? That's kind of where we're at right now. So I just thought those things were kind of interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you in agreement? Do you think things are going to be extending? Do you think that basically we get to November, December, it's done? But yeah, it's kind of where we're at. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. But have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.